A warm welcome from my side to our webinar today about unlocking the efficiency about integrating Microsoft Teams as a phone system with Salesforce. And this is a joint webinar with the Unaric Group and Mirage Computer Systems. And today's webinar will be recorded. We will send it over with all the slides from today's presentation in a follow-up email. So even if you would not have time to stuck around with us until the end, you can be sure to get every information as well as the webinar itself in full length via mail. If you would have any kind of questions during the webinar, please don't hesitate to type them in the control panel. We will go through every questions in our Q&A session in the end of this webinar. About today's agenda, we will start with the introduction and the vision of Unaric, and then have a short setting the scene. So we start with a quick introduction about Microsoft Teams, and then we go to the connection between CTI Data Connector and the Teams integration in detail. And we will end the webinar and the presentation itself as with a live demonstration and come back to your question in our Q&A session. Okay, today's speakers, let me introduce Neil Crawford. He's the founder and CPO of Unaric, as well as Mr. Dieter Härle. He's the founder and managing director from Mirage. And then myself, my name is Annika Seewal. I'm senior account executive also from Mirage. Okay, and now I can hand over to Neil. He will give us more vision about Unaric.
Thank you, Annika, and welcome everybody. So yeah, just a very quick introduction to Unaric as a company. Unaric's building a suite of applications on the Salesforce platform, and it's a group that between us, we've got extensive experience of the Salesforce ecosystem, and we've seen, as you guys probably have as well, that the number of apps and custom code that customers are managing on Salesforce is growing and growing. So having to integrate these multiple applications together, deal with multiple vendors, multiple support teams can be challenging. So at Unaric, we're aiming to simplify this. So in a nutshell, Unaric is bringing a simple portfolio of applications to choose from, integrated products, so you don't need to figure out how to connect the applications together. We can do that for you, letting you deal with a single trusted supplier, innovating and listening to customer feedback and building future applications with your feedback, and making it easier to add new applications as you need to do more things. So streamlined buying, billing process, and infosec process, and then aligning those applications to certain use cases and industries to give you an idea of how they should be used together. So yeah, please take a look at their website, unaric.com, to see a list of other applications that we've got in the portfolio, and there's lots more coming soon. Okay, back to you. Thank you, Annika.
Thank you, Neil. Yeah, then let's go back to setting the scene itself. So Microsoft, or the way how the companies are communicating has changed in the past few years. I think the most major change was fueled and driven from the pandemic itself. A lot of larger companies and companies in general face the issue that they need to get their employees in remote positions, home office, and they didn't really have the infrastructure to do that, to really get the telephony flexible and not bound to one side. Then also a big topic is omnichannel communication. It's not only phone and chat, also applications like WhatsApp and social media really is something that we are not missing in nowadays communication channels. This third one would also be because we need to be flexible. The trend is going really away from all kind of on-premise systems and moving into cloud telephone systems. And to really be able, and that's the most topic, to be flexible or able to be flexible, is also that I'm not generally using desk phones anymore, to be really able to change the location without any issues and missing a parts of the telephony point. I need to use soft phones. And Microsoft Teams as a system itself would cover that up to get an omni-channel solution. So why would you think about to change your telephone system into Microsoft Teams voice calls? So I think the most important topic is that over 1.2 billion people are using the Microsoft Office suite, so 365. So if you already have the structure in your infrastructure and you're probably also using Microsoft Teams for internal communication, you would just extend it with your landline calls and your telephony itself. It would, in this topic, also be a really cost lowering topic about the telephony itself, because all your communication activities will happen in one solution. You do not need to administrate two different or three different software to be able to keep your communication going on. And you're able to answer your calls anywhere. It's highly flexible. You do not need to switch to say, okay, I want to get and reach my calls on a mobile, because Microsoft Teams can operate in the same time on your desk, on your desktop, as well on your smartphone. It can be centrally managed, and this is huge importance for global companies. If they would say, I have multiple different locations and countries, and each of these countries would have their own infrastructure, then I also need to have on site their own IT. And Microsoft Teams could be managed from one location or maybe two locations due to the time zone. So there is no need to put an availability of IT in every location. Yeah, and in nowadays, or at the moment, Microsoft Teams is really, we can talk about a full-featured phone system. In the past years, Microsoft really did huge developing parts in Microsoft Teams depending on a telephony. So it's now really can taken as a full-featured phone system. Okay. Okay, then I think I can hand over to Dieter. He will give us an overview about CTI data connector operating together with the Teams integration.
Annika, thank you. Yeah, I will give you a quick overview about the company and the Teams integration, what is special with Teams and Salesforce. A few words about Mirage. From the German-based CTI vendors, we are worldwide #1. We are a long time on the market, since 1995. And with all the products we have over 3,500 customers in more than 75 countries. All our products are available in a lot of different languages. We are part of the Unaric group, where Neil already explained what's behind the Unaric group and the advantages for you, that you can buy in the future multiple software applications for Salesforce from one company. And we are official Salesforce partner and listed on the AppExchange even since 2011. So on the very early days of AppExchange, we started with our listing. Now we do have two main products. One is CTI Data Connector, one is the Mirage Connector for Service Cloud Voice. So we can integrate in the same way in Service Cloud Voice. And today we are talking about the Teams integration, which is possible for both products. Our customers are really in all industries and from small to large. So we have large customers, but only having one team, with CTI data connector, or customers having in every country a different telephone system, because that's our specialty, that we can integrate in over 100 telephone systems. As I already mentioned, we have two products. CTI data connector, that's the one which listed since 2011 on the App Exchange, and it's for sales and service, and has a huge feature set from power dialer about SMS sending, automated workflow. And we have an integration in Service Cloud Voice, where we also bring in all the over 100 telephone systems and the Teams integration. We can then bundle several products in the contact center suite. The contact center suite is available for a few selected telephone systems and extends the basic product with call distribution based on Salesforce data. For example, a call comes in and you want to distribute the call to the Salesforce account owner, or you have an IVR, the user types in a ticket number, then we can look up, is the ticket number really existing in Salesforce? If yes, who is the ticket owner? And a lot of other stuff is possible. And the other service is making audio recordings and linking the audio recordings to Salesforce. The telephone system must be able to do the recording, and we then archive it and link it to Salesforce. And it's also possible with Service Cloud Voice integration. Now we have a small poll for you. How are you using Microsoft Teams within your organization today? So do you already use it, and you use it internally for chats, or you make web meetings with Microsoft Teams, or you even use it for voice calling to call landline or mobiles? Yeah, so poll is over. Thank you very much. That will help us to see how customers are using the product today. Now, what is special with the Teams integration? So this is going beyond normal integration we have in a Cisco or a Avaya or in a cloud system. One major point is that we synchronize the present state in both directions. So for example, you have a meeting like today, the webinar in your calendar, then Teams will automatically go in a meeting when it's due on your calendar, and then we synchronize the present state from Teams to Salesforce. It's then available in the Salesforce Live Agent dashboard that you are in a meeting, and of course you don't get any phone calls. But you could also change the present state in Salesforce and even define own present states like lunch, which we then synchronize with the next fitting present state in Teams like busy. We offer with an additional component, a MiFID compliance recording, which does the recording when a call comes in based on conditions, and it's linked to Salesforce, including call transcription, where the audio file is transcribed to text. You can integrate it in Salesforce and then use Einstein to analyze the calls. The big advantage from Teams, as Annika already mentioned, you have one client. You don't need an additional soft phone to install, and it works for Windows and Mac computer, browser, and mobile client. And we have an own live agent dashboard where you see the agent status in the wallboard where you see even if Teams meetings are going on or outbound calls. I will show you that in a second. So with the Live Agent status dashboard, you can add skills, local time zones. So you see the colleague in the US has now 6 a.m. or you see in which queues a colleague is logged in. You can search and filter it. It's automatically refreshed so that you can also use it on a TV screen. It's a lightning component which you can just add to your tabs. And the wallboard gives a live view about all in and outbound calls, which users are in which present stage, the average ring time, and much more. This is how it looks like. At the top, we do have the Live Agent status dashboard, where you, for example, see even when there's an outgoing call that the call is going on with Alisa Meyer. For data protection reasons, you can also remove the name and just see there's an outgoing call. You see the skills and you see the countries and the local time and also the queues. And below we have the wallboard where you see here 44 landline calls are going on, where 10 calls are pure MS Teams calls. So either a user makes a Teams call to another user or it's meetings. And you see also the queues where the calls are coming in and the phone lines which are used. This is the technical setup. We start with your existing team setup where you either have a SIP trunk and session border controller, which is also called direct routing. That's the typical setup for larger companies, or we also support Microsoft calling plans. The call comes in to your Office account, and the specialty, and there's no other product on the App Exchange which can do that. We do not have a contact center or a telephone system in between. We just have a bot, and the bot uses the configuration from your Teams. So your IVRs, your voicemail, your queues, everything which you configure in the Teams admin center is directly used. And this is a big advantage. You do not need to make an additional setup and do a reconfiguration. And then on the Salesforce side, we do have the managed package. And when a call comes in, you see then everything going on in Salesforce. We do have a cloud in between. You can select the location. It's Germany, Ireland, US, or Singapore. And it's fully GDPR compliant because we do not save any data in the cloud. We save every information from the call, the start time, the end time, the call result, was the call transferred, the node, and a lot of other information in Salesforce and not in the cloud. However, we do have a Teams contact center option where we have a cooperation with Contact Center for All. They are Microsoft certified Teams contact center. If you have the need for more features like Teams itself is offering. So for example, if you need a skill-based routing, if you need smart plans when a customer can reach you, if you need call distribution based on Salesforce data, and you see it in the slide, the difference to our native integration is that you build the Teams contact center functionality in an own contact center with an own user interface. So you define the queues, the skills, the routing logic in Contact Center for All. Yeah. And the good thing is you can mix both products. So if you have the requirement that 50 users need a real contact center for inbound calls, and you have another 100 sales users who have mostly outbound calls and of course inbound calls, even to direct extension number. Then you can mix both setups so that you can really have the perfect Teams setup infrastructure.
Then I will start with an inbound call. Let me check by availability in Teams. That's right. Okay, here we go. So I'm actually picking up the call. And depending on my setup, like this is the setup I have right now in Teams, that actually means, or in Salesforce, if a call comes in, it should automatically pick up the still open case, which was I'm actually showing you right now. It picking up the still open case in Salesforce and then providing that data to me. In your own case, or in it can be something else. It might be okay, you want it to like open an opportunity which is there, or maybe you want it to start a flow because you want some instructions to be given to the agents when the call come in. So you do have these options that are there that we actually provide with the solution. Secondly, in the CTI, you have an overview of the customer you are practically talking with, and all what you're seeing that we have here, we have here Mirage Computer Systems, Peter Schmidt as the contact, the telephone number. These are things that can be configured, or the title as a sales manager. These are things that we can really configure to where then fit your business needs, what you want to see in Salesforce. We do have here the option to actually do transfer the call. A transfer can be done via, which is actually a click here, and you can then search either on the Teams Active Directory, for example, or you search on the contact level to actually know transfer the call to somebody in Salesforce, and they transfer themselves. You have the option of actually doing two types of transfer. We do offer the option of warm transfer or a blind transfer. I'll go back to showing the live agent dashboard. Is something that we then practically connect to. Will give you an idea about the present states that we have, the present state that we are taking from Teams. For example, right now I'm on a call, and you see, I can even see this. I talked about that during the presentation. I can actually see with whom I'm calling, so my colleagues can really look into and know, okay, he's right now in the call because I just obtained a second call in the queue as such, and it can be transferred to me because I'm directly on a call. Or you have other options of maybe somebody being on lunch or actually available right now. We do have behind the scene as such, as always, the Teams as a telephone system really active. That means the call I'm making right now is completely going through Teams. The voice part of the call is running through Teams, whereas we take the data and push them into Salesforce to start all the nitty-gritty things that you as a customer then want from our solution in Salesforce. The option that we also have on the team side is like for now, I can even in this call I can invite some a third party, maybe through landline calling. That's an option, or even through web meeting. For example, I will invite CoStream now to the call. Okay. I'm adding question to a call as a Teams meeting, like it's like a web call as such. Although I'm in a landline call, and in this call, we are practically having a conference call right now with me, maybe even sharing some documentation. For example, CoStream, you can share some documents with me. That means I'm actually collaborating with the customer, or I've discussed with the customer maybe about an opportunity, and I need CodeStream's help to help me then maybe close this opportunity. I'm actually adding CodeStream to the call, so that with CodeStream being on that call, we can then together discuss with the customer, get the solution, and actually then present the final opportunity to the customer. Thank you, CodeStream, for joining. And I'm going back to the call in Teams. I'm in Salesforce. I'm back in the call in Salesforce. What I can actually do now here is like take call notes, for example, make it short there. I do have two options here where I can actually group my, or where I can get my call results, or what type of call results I can get later then in Salesforce to better then maybe do reports on it. I do have one, we do have the main grouping of call results, which might be depending on the services you're offering. Maybe you do have your sales department, or you have a service department, or it can also be grouped based on a product line. Maybe you do run different product lines and you want to have an insight into that later through the core results, which are also then defined based on my pick list. So for the fact that I'm choosing CTI Data Connector, I have then a range of core results that are automatically there that can be configured. What you're seeing here is like what our own thinking of how to like show you this demo, but it can be configured to really like fit your own business needs. So like all of this can be configured. I will say, okay, I'm choosing this to like maybe send information out to the customer, and I do also have an option of really creating something new. We were in a case, maybe I would say, okay, I want to create an opportunity where I'm talking with a customer. Demo up, for example. I closed it there because it's needed, and then save. Okay, choose a stage, I'm prospecting, and these opportunities automatically created, and I'm asked also by the system if I want to assign it to the call. With a click, I'm assigning it to the call, and with that, I do have this new opportunity created connected to that call. I'll go back and end the call. I've ended the call, and then automatically we have a setup, the possibility of actually like creating a follow-up task in Salesforce with me like saving that call. This is now a standard Salesforce functionality, maybe send code out to customer. I'm saving. If I go on the contact level of the customer, I do have then this information about the inbound call I just made, and the refresh here. The moment, show all activities. I do also have then the information about the code I was supposed to be sent, that I'm supposed to send out to the customer. And here I have all the information about the call, all the parameters connected to the call. If you want to have a deeper dive on the information about the call, you also have it completely a start, end time of the call, the ring time before I pick up the call, and any other data that we'll be getting from the telephone system. Without said, this is just like a very, very, very small intro into what is possible with in connection with Teams as a telephone system in Salesforce. If you need more information or to really get a deeper dive into the possibilities of the solution, you can contact us. I've also have a one-on-one demo. And I'm handing over back to Annika.
Thank you, Chewy. The key takeaways before we are going to the Q&A session. So what would be the major topics that you should take away from this webinar? First of all, you can directly connect Microsoft Teams to Salesforce for landline calls and Teams internal calls without using any kind of middleware like a cloud telephone system or anything like that. And then you have one central point of administration, and no additional soft phone is required for this connection, and also no local components. Standard Microsoft Teams or Contact Center, both is possible, and you can even mix it. So if you have the need for one department to use a Contact Center solution, and the second department is doing well with the standard Teams connection, you can connect both in one Salesforce org. Okay, and I think we are having a quick poll before we are going to your questions. The poll itself would be the question: are you looking to implement Microsoft Teams telephony with Salesforce in a specific timeline, like in the next 3 months or in the next 6 months, or maybe even a longer period like next year, or no plans at all until now? Okay, a lot of answers are coming in. Yeah, perfect. Then thank you all for the answers. And now we can proceed with our Q&A. Okay, so first of all, thank you to everyone that you stuck with us until now. And let's have a look if we have any questions inside. Yeah, I do see a couple of. I think we start with the first from the top. The first question, I think this could be something for you, Chewy. How long does a typical rollout with the standard Microsoft Teams integration take? So this is also specific for Teams.
Okay. From the experience we have been making or having from the last months since we launched the product, typically the effective time we need for the integration is actually 2 to 3 weeks. Whereas you have to take into account the fact that for every integration, you need the availability of all those stakeholders that are needed to do the integration from the technical side. And these actually maybe pull the whole complete integration between something between 3 to 4 or 5 weeks, actually depending on the availability. So it's something that can be completely integrated within a month from the day where you start the kickoff meeting with us, if you are available so that we do that together.
Thank you, Chewy. Then we do have the second question. If I already have Microsoft Teams in place, what do I need to make voice calls? Okay, so I think that means what you should do if you want to really use the telephony part in Microsoft Teams. So that's possible if you have, as example, an E3 plan in Microsoft. Then you would need a short extension. It's available directly from Microsoft. It's a phone license. And if you would have a plan on top of the E3, an E5 plan, then the phone license itself is already included. And since you have the phone license, you will be able to configure your telephony and use the landline calls. Also in Microsoft Teams, you have 2 different possibilities to use direct routing. That would be a provider of your choice connected with Microsoft Teams, or direct calling plans from Microsoft. Okay, then we do have one last question. What is the difference between direct routing and Microsoft calling plan? I think this is in detail better explained from Dieter.
Yes, thank you. And I see also another question, which is in the end fitting. Which telephone number is Microsoft Teams using? So if you have right now an on-premise telephone system or cloud telephone system, then you can just transfer your existing telephone numbers. With the on-premise telephone system, you typically have a SIP trunk. Then there's even no transfer required. You just book a session border controller with your SIP trunk provider, and that's it. So it's very easy to switch with the existing telephone numbers to Teams. And there are two options. The SIP trunk option, which you today have with on-premise systems, requires a session border controller. And that gives you the flexibility that you can select the best suited provider. So if you have a lot of phone calls internationally, then you would select a provider which has flat rates for international callings. And if you need a rollout in different countries, then you can select a SIP trunk provider in each country to get better rates. Or you use the easy version, but it's a bit more expensive. You use the Microsoft calling plans, which you directly order in the Teams admin center. And here you could also order additional telephone numbers if you don't want to transfer your existing telephone numbers, or if you just need additional phone numbers.
Thank you, Dieter.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of more questions in the chat itself, but I think we are running a bit out of time. So we will come back to you via email, answer your questions, and also everyone who get a bit curious about our connection, please feel free to directly contact us either in sales@mirage-systems.com or just put a call to us and we will schedule a meeting together. Okay, thank you from my side and thank you to everyone who participated. I hope we will talk to each other soon. I wish you a great day.